What is your understanding of software testing in Agile? Oh, what are the different levels of testing in Agile product development? Alternatively, this question can also be asked as what is the order of software development testing? And today I'm going to share about the 5 different levels of testing any software should go through. Now, there might be some exemption, but this is going to be the standard. Number one, we're going to talk about unit testing. Number two, I'm going to talk about integration testing. Number three, I'm going to talk about user acceptance testing, commonly called UTA. Number four, I'm going to talk about end-to-end testing. And number five, I'm going to talk about regression testing. So when you understand these 5 different levels of testing, you can conveniently talk about how you support your tester or your QA, right? So tell me about testing. How do you ensure that testings are effective? Okay, it's a happy Monday. Welcome to the Safe Chat Room with Dr. Francis Mbunya. And hit the subscribe button if you want more videos like this. And if you are a returning subscriber, make sure you like, drop your comments. It's a community where we want to make sure that we're keeping it very simple. We're going to explain testing in a way that you can visualize it, in a way that you can understand it. We use non-technical language. All right, without wasting much time, let's get straight into our conversation for today. For those who want to join our safe certification training, we're launching one today. It's going to start at 5 p.m. Runs for 4 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, from 5 p.m. through 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Okay. Then for those you need level up coaching to make sure that you're ending the year strong, reach out to us. We have a powerful community. We don't teach you Scrum. We show you how to do Scrum, right? That's the difference in our community. We get you there to your hands on the butt, drag those stuff up and down, understand what it means when we say we're rolling over story, understand what it means when we say we're having a velocity script and all of that. That you need to be able to experience that in practice so that when you get in the right environment, you are a pro. All right, so let's go to straight away and talk about our video for today. We're talking about the different level of testing. Now, the first level of testing that's conducted in the software development lifecycle is called unit testing. Now, the first part of it, if you see about unit means one, right? Unit testing. One thing you want to understand about software development using an agile approach is that we develop it incrementally, which means that we build one part and then build another part and then build a third part, and then so all of these parts are built independently. That is why we always talk about stories. So one of the questions, which is also something which comes more frequently in an interview, like how would you know that you need to break down a story, or what help you to know that this story need to be broken down, is based on the level of testing. So you ensure that each story should have at least just one unit testing. Unit testing simply means that, so unit testing is usually performed by developers during which individual software models, right, a unit are tested to uncover issue. So if we can break down this story into 5 different testing models, we can test them independently and indicate that the story can be broken. So if your developer say, oh, we cannot break this further, it means that we cannot test this apart. There's only one unit. We need to test it as a unit. So unit testing, since we're building incrementally, we want to test every unit to make sure that it is working well. What are the benefits of unit testing? Spot and reduce defect early on. If we test every unit, we make sure that we are reducing defect early on. It improves built-in quality. That's why testing is very important. Now, after unit testing, what is happening next? Remember, Agile it's about incremental, right? Now we build continuous is continuous. building, right? Now we integrate continuously and we deploy on demand. So the second step of testing is what we call integration testing. Remember, we're building this code independently and we are testing them independently. Now the second part is that we need to integrate it with the part. Let's say you build 5 different code, right? And then you need to bring them together to form a functionality or to form an increment. Now what is going to happen? You need to do now integrate, you need to do integrated testing to make sure that they are compatible. All right. I'm going to try to use a specific example. Now let's say that we are trying to build I love to use like really common example. We are trying to build a lock-in system for a bank, right? To enable the client kind of lock-in. Number one, we can build the name and the password window as a unit, right? Now, but that's not all that is needed. Now we can build automated, let's say, double factor authentication as part of another unit. So we're going to test if you can log in independently. We're going to test if automatic or automation or authentication, double factor authentication can kick in independently. Now we want to build confirm by a text message so you can sign and receive a text. We want to build that aspect also independently. But remember, the login or the double authentication, be it by Face ID, be it by using a text, all of them are part of the process of locking. So we build each of these, we test if each of them are working independently. Now we put them together and now we can now check if we log in, is it going to move to the circle where it's going to ask us to do a double authentication either by send a text message or do a face verification. So we start integrating it and then we're testing how this chain is working. And what is the benefit of integration testing? Number one, it ensures that the combined different aspects that are working as expected, right? So, and also help us to understand the interface that's going on between the different circuits. All right, the third level of testing we're going to talk about today is user acceptance testing. UTA. You hear a lot about UTA. User acceptance testing is very, very simple. One of the simplest one to do, right? Or to understand. Now, let's say that I am the manager of Bank of America, and you are the agile team. You've been building all of this code. You've built the login. You've ensured that the an automation message will be sent after I log in to confirm. You're ensuring that if I log in for, let's say, first time in a computer, it's going to ask me to do maybe social security check. All of that are different units. You build them, you integrate them. Now, when it comes to me as the manager, I'm not interested to know how many code or how many integration you did. I'm interested to put my username and log in and then see that it sent me a message to verify. Yes, you did your work. So user acceptance testing is an end user test, how the end user test, how it's working, right? So the login app is more like what we call software. So sometimes when we talk about software, don't be so confused. Software is simply something which is digital that can help a business actually deliver a business value. What business value are we delivering with the login? We're ensuring that we can serve our client and we can make sure that the client can effectively bank in a secure environment. So user testing, it validate business requirement and met my expectation. I'm not expected to know whatsoever code you're writing. I want to make sure that it's as recommended. And that is one of the reasons why when you zoom back, you realize that when we talk about user stories and we write business requirement in user stories, it's because we want the developer to understand that so that they can be able to do their own part of the work. On the other hand, we also want the business leaders to understand the same language, everyone on the same platform. Okay, so the fourth type of testing we do in software delivery is called end-to-end testing. End-to-end testing, right? So this is what you want to check if the whole chain of application is working. Now, I just spoke about the login in the banking app. That's not just the login. We can build a login. When you get to the login, what is the next thing? You want to be able to check your bank account. You want to be able to make a transfer. You want to be able to sign out effectively, right? So the end-to-end testing will be, can I log in, get the authentication, be able to check all my account details, do my transaction, and then sign out. So that's the end-to-end testing. We want to test to see how this flow is working within the system and what depends on what. We want to make sure that the signs are going on. Just imagine that, okay, if you log in, your bank account details show up before it asks you to authenticate. Now, there's a challenge with the end-to-end flow. So we want to make sure it actually going as needed. So it also ensures that the core functionality are communicating well with other systems. Now, with end-to-end testing, it's all about how the APIs are communicating within the system. Now we'll talk about API. API means application programming interface, right? So that is what helps us to communicate in the system. Okay, now the last part of the testing we're going to talk about today is called regression testing. So regression testing should something which is kind of regularly planned by any software team. Now regression means rolling back. We're moving back to see if things are still working. Regression testing, remember, one of the things that happen within the agile project development is that change are coming in and we are validating the changes, right? So these changes are coming in, we are validating the changes. It means that we are rewriting some code, we are refactoring some code. So we need to now run a test to backdate it, to go back and check if all of this system is still working as needed. And it helps us to be able to identify if we have a bug in the software development, and also help us to ensure application stability as the code group base. Now it also improves quality. So regression testing is like we're going back to check, is there something that's there. So most often we need to constantly run regression testing to see if the system is vulnerable and all of that. We need to ensure that we are doing that. So we have learned about the 5 different levels of testing when we're talking about the software development lifecycle. We spoke about unit testing, we spoke about integration testing, we spoke about user acceptance testing, we spoke about end-to-end testing, we spoke about regression testing. All right, that's what you need to understand as a Scrum Master, so that when you get into a team and a QA say, oh, we're performing this type of testing, you should be able to understand what it does and why is the need that the team is performing that type of testing. All right. If this was definitely useful, you want to make sure that you share it with someone, drop a comment, and just to say, hey, thank you, I love what you're doing. Sometimes it really encourages me to do more videos, all right? And also, check the link below to join our Facebook community. On the link as well, you can also check more information on our site. There are a lot of videos. I do short videos to explain each of our the services that we provide and how it can help you advance, right? We do Red Scrum. We don't do Talking Scrum. So thank you again for watching. I'll see you in our next video. And on Wednesday, we're going to have our midweek lunch and learn. Hopefully, I'm going to come on board. I'll decide what to teach. If there are any question you have on testing, I may come on board to clarify them. And also, we'll be doing a live video in the Facebook group. Just so make sure you're part of our Facebook group. That's where you can ask questions. We can chat. We can have more time. I answer more direct question in there. It's more engaging in there. All right. Have a great week ahead. And remember, it's time for you to win. Don't give up, because there is still a lot to learn along the way.